No, no buzz. A Just Bees book club. Hello, today, Sabretooth, The Adversary, written by Victor LaValle, who you may know as the author of The Ballad of Black Tom, among other things, a book I have not read, but really want to after reading this. You may also know from my Clementine video, I'm not a huge graphic novel person. Uh, so, shocked, but pleasantly surprised by this. Pretty phenomenal little graphic novel, a collection of singles, whatever you want to call it. It's is this what you call a trade in comics? I think it might be called a trade in comics. Who knows? Not me. So Sabretooth is a currently ongoing series, I think, by LaValle. I picked it up because I actually went to Cape and Cowl to check out their Prisoners Literature Project display a number of months ago now, and I mentioned to the proprietor there that I do the same thing for the store I work for, and we talked a little bit, and they mentioned that the Sabretooth comics that were coming out were like really dope and sort of abolitionist almost, and I was like, I'll take a look at that. And it came out on my birthday, so I picked myself up a copy and read through it, and there's a lot of X-Men shit in here that I fucking don't understand. Just frankly, just does not. They're on an island called Krakoa, Magneto and which is also a mutant. Magneto and Professor X. It's like how long it took me to pull Professor X's name there. Not a comics person. Charles Xavier are like the co-leads of this like mutant island thing. And there's a bunch of X people in this that I just fucking don't recognize and didn't bother looking up. But that's okay because it was quite delightful. Sabretooth gets thrown in jail in Krakoa, which is like part of Krakoa itself as a being. And for according to what's presented in here, like something he did while on a mission for the heads of Krakoa. Um, the but yeah, it's about Sabretooth being imprisoned, what it means for a prison to exist on a utopian mutant island, and what effects that has both on the individual and on the social structure. And I think it's done quite well. And I wanted to point out just a couple things. Um, so there's this thing that it does throughout. It's sort of like I think at the end or beginning of each sort of where a comics issue would break. One of the first of these is when it's just titled Prison. And it starts, what is prison for? That seems like a simple question. The hardest ones usually do. To punish, to rehabilitate, to alter. And goes on about the Roman Colosseums. Uh, yeah, there's good stuff in there, but specifically the thing that struck me, and you know, like just to say also that splash page is pretty. It's just good use of colors throughout this thing. Um, some pretty good action sequences and just weirdo mutants, which is all good shit. But the thing that when I was like, oh okay, I'm kind of bought in here. Um, Over the years, when California found itself plagued with wildfires, prisoners were sent out on crews to combat the flames. Men, women, and teenage prisoners can all be sent on such jobs. For this work, the prisoners earn about $3 a day. What is prison for? Maybe the better question is who is prison for? Um, I was like, okay, this isn't explicitly abolitionist in a way I was like kind of mentioned it as being, but this is no bullshit. It isn't just like here's a record of the Romans doing bad prison stuff. This is the U.S. today. This is the state that I live in. Um, and then just to sort of like continue that, there's this other one. I pulled these out beforehand because I actually prepared just a little bit. How unlike me. Feral Council, the captain. This is like sort of, I don't know, three quarters, four-fifths of the way through. Another one of these sort of set-asides. Um, Goes, starting in 1995 or 1955, Louis Armstrong traveled the world with his jazz band, the All Stars, bringing one of the greatest American art forms, jazz, to various nations across the globe. They were sent abroad by the Congress of Cultural Freedoms, or the CCF. The CCF also went by another name, the CIA. And it makes it basically talks about soft power and I guess it uses the word soft liners in here to talk about the way that um, the the Center for the CCF or the CIA were actively using culture as a sort of touch point in the Cold War, um, and that just gives this pretty solid story about mind prison um, and hating it and breaking out and saying fuck the utopians who only replicate the same structures that they're used to. Um, it gives it a certain depth that I was like incredibly pleasantly surprised by. And I'm excited to read more, and I'm excited to read more stuff by Victor LaValle. And that is about all I have to say about a comic. It wasn't I mean the only comparative thing on this channel is the Tilly Walden's Clementine. I think was not nearly as blown away with like the art and the just structuring of the pages as in Sabretooth as I was in Clementine. But I have a similar complete disregard for the source material in both of those, so that at least is a comparison point. I think Clementine is just gorgeous, and I think Sabretooth has a more pointed political message that is delivered better. But I like both of them quite a bit. Did you hear that? Did you hear a bee just say that they like multiple comics? Gross. What has this done to me? Fuck. Thanks for not watching.